Welcome everybody to Forza Horizon 4, and today we're taking a look at the 2019 McLaren Speedtail. Now this was unveiled in October 2018, and this is a 4th edition in the McLaren Ultimate Series after the Senna, P1 and F1. And yeah, this is a highly advanced car in several areas, but also uses existing technology such as carbon fibre monocoque chassis to make a car that, despite having all of the stuff on it and being quite a large car, still only weighs in at 3,307 pounds, which is only about 11 pounds more than a McLaren P1. So yeah, it's really rather quite lightweight for the kind of car that it is. But it's also got some stuff about it that is quite old school. It still has dihedral doors like every other McLaren has. It's got 3 abreast seating just like the F1, but those passenger seats are integrated into the chassis, so they're integral to the car overall in terms of providing all the strength that you need. But in terms of advancements, it's got electrochromatic glass, which basically means at the touch of a button the glass becomes darker. Plus I do like the blue glass at the top there as a alternative to a sun visor, so yeah, that's really good. And yeah, it's got HD cameras over traditional door mirrors. They're there on the right and there on the left, along with 3 screens for the driver information. And yeah, it's basically got those HD cameras, so it reduces drag on the car, because yeah, this is all about making the car cut through the air as cleanly as possible. That's why it's got static wheel covers at the front, and yeah, it's also got adjustable aerodynamics at the back, aerodynamic downforce tails at the back as well. So most of the time they're down like they are now, but when they get to a certain rate of speed they'll come up to provide extra handling. But as soon as you get to above a certain rate of speed, they'll go back down again to improve the aerodynamics. And the same with the cameras as well. They'll, as you can see, it's in that slot there on the door. They pop out at normal speeds, but when you're above normal speeds, you know, like if you're on a track, they go back into the car to make the car more efficient, which is all great, because yeah, you want to make the most of this car because it has a huge amount of power. Can't actually see the engine, which is unfortunate, but it does produce 1,036 horsepower, 847 pounds-feet of torque from a 4-litre twin-turbocharged V8 engine, which is coupled with a parallel hybrid system electric motor. So it doesn't run on the motor at any point on its own. It's basically there to fill in the gaps, either from the engine changing gear or from the turbochargers not spooling up to the highest rate of PSI. So yeah, it's really a good marrying of new and old technology, while also paying homage to the F1, which it does in other ways as well, which we'll get to. But it's also a little bit on the practical side as well. You can easily get a bag in there. So yeah, McLaren are pretty much thought of everything, and I think it looks absolutely amazing as well. It's easily one of my favourite, if not my favourite, actual McLaren in terms of looks alone. Just love the old school kind of like teardrop styling to it that a lot of cars back when aerodynamics were in their infancy were going for, to try and achieve the best aerodynamic efficiency as possible. So yeah, really do like the looks of it, and it certainly sets itself apart from other McLarens, which have become a bit same old in terms of styling, to be honest. But where this car really excels is out on the open road. So let's get out there and see what this car can do. Now, despite the massive power increase over the likes of a P1, has 133 extra horsepower over that car, it's still rear-wheel drive this, which is nice to see. It means that the front end of the car can just deal with the steering and the braking rather than any of the power, which means it's really rather direct in terms of its steering and its handling, which is great, especially when you're dealing with this amount of power. And because the car is, you know, focusing on cutting through the air as cleanly as possible, that power isn't really put to waste through any drag, as you can see. And yeah, those tails at the back there, the spoilers, or the aerodynamic spoilers, are coming up at the back there because we're at a higher rate of speed, but they will go away if we ever go any higher. And as you can see there, the cameras are sticking out. Not sure if they go away at a higher rate of speed like it would do in normal life, but yeah, it's nice to see that they deploy when you set off. And yeah, thanks to the way that this car is designed, very little of that power is put to waste, because it can do 0 to 60 in 2 seconds flat, which is superb. It's think that's better than the Bugatti Chiron, to be honest. And yeah, 0 to 60, 0 to 100 even, in 4.1 seconds. And it will go into a claimed top speed of 250 miles an hour, which means this is McLaren's fastest car ever, beating the F1 and smashing the P1 and every other car that they've made recently. So yeah, glorious piece of engineering and design as far as I'm concerned. And yeah, I'm someone that's typically not even interested in these kind of hypercars, and yeah, even I'm sold on this, and I'm really glad they've put it in the game, to be honest, instead of, you know, another one of those filler cars that McLaren generally put out that are a few horsepower over one car and a few horsepower less than another. This generally feels as unique as it is. And yeah, they're not going to sell all that many either. Apparently they're only selling about 106, maybe some more, but because this isn't actually road legal in the US, I doubt they'll sell all that many. And it's not road legal in the US because of the cameras. Apparently you're not allowed video cameras instead of physical door mirrors in the US, so yeah, it's not getting sold over there, unfortunately. But yeah, still a cracking car in its own right. It really handles beautifully. It's got huge rate of speed, great acceleration. The engine sounds pretty decent as well, though that is probably the only downside to this car. It's a decent sounding engine, no, don't get me wrong, but, and it certainly doesn't sound horrible, but considering the great looks and the fact that it would head turn pretty much anyone, I would have liked a more, you know, operatic kind of sounding engine, a more dramatic sounding engine rather than what it's got. But it's still pretty good, and yeah, it provides all of the power, speed and acceleration you could ever ask for, quite frankly. And yeah, hope McLaren keep going on in this more unique direction in terms of looks, because like I said, their cars have become a bit samey in terms of how they look, but this really does set itself apart. And yeah, really glad it does, because it means I can finally like another McLaren now, with the 720S only being the other McLaren that I've truly enjoyed, but this goes well and above beyond that as well. So yeah, cracking vehicle. And yeah, you can get it via doing the 50% of the festival playlist for this month, so get basically 50% on the summer playlist that is currently around. And yeah, you can get this car fairly easy to do a few championships, and then it's yours for nothing. Nonetheless, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.